Freese. I'm the mayor of Tonganoxie. I call to order this January 2nd, 2024 meeting of the Tonganoxie City Council. Ms. Huntington, will you note that I'm present and call the roll, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mr. Partridge?
Here.
Ms. McCutcheon is absent. Ms. Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Donnelly?
Here.
Mr. Dale?
Here.
Would you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. Item 2 on the agenda is the approval of minutes, in which we go over the minutes from the previous meeting from December 18th. Are there any questions or conversation about the minutes? If there are none, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda for tonight on item 3 is the review of the bill payments. We review the bill payments from the previous period. Are there any questions or conversation about the bill payments? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is old business. Did anyone sign up to speak tonight?
No sign-ups.
Oh, no sign-ups. All right, we'll move on to new business, the swearing in of the mayor and city council members following the November 2023 election. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. For this item, we'll have 2 separate swearing-ins. In November 15th, the city received a notification from the county clerk certifying the results of the November 2023 election for our 2 positions on the city council and the position of city mayor. The city mayor position, Mayor Freese was reelected, and he was unopposed. And in the city council member position, there were 3 candidates, and the 2 leading vote getters were Jacob Dale and Jennifer McCutcheon, our incumbents. So we're excited to complete that swearing in, and I'd like to ask Mr. Dale to just stand and raise his right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of Tonganoxie City Council Member.
the duties of Tonganoxie City Council Member.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Dale. All right, Mayor Freese. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge
and faithfully discharge
the duties of Tonganoxie City Mayor,
and discharge
the duties of the
Tonganoxie
Tonganoxie City Mayor.
of the Tonganoxie City Mayor.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mayor. And since Ms. McCutcheon can't be here tonight, we'll plan to do her swearing in at the next regular meeting of the City Council. Our current city code illustrates that these, stipulates that these terms all take effect January 8th, so in a little less than a week from today. But we don't have a meeting between now and then, so that's why we're completing that a little ahead of schedule tonight's meeting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Item B under new business is ordinance 1517, approval of special event permit application of the rural flavor Leavenworth County wine and grower experience, including consumption and sale of alcohol on city-owned property. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a unique application that is actually, I think, the first time that we've submitted such an application for this exact type of event. You may remember that in the past, the City Council has considered and approved ordinances for allowing consumption of alcohol on publicly owned property and on city-owned property at the Tonganoxie Public Library facility. Those previous events were called wine and bingo nights, and they were fundraisers with a certain intention and purpose, and invited parties who purchased a ticket would be allowed to consume alcohol under the stipulations of that ordinance's exception. In this case, though, the city has received a special event permit application from the group named in the ordinance and described more fully within that detail. We have several people here tonight that I'd like to recognize and give an opportunity to give you just a quick overview of the plans for the event, but I'll just deliver a very brief overview of the regulatory oversight of the city and of the state of Kansas. As the event parameters detailed, there will be alcohol sampling after a seminar conducted by 4 local Leavenworth County wineries. That sampling will be in a closed area of the event that is only allowed to be accessed by people over the age to consume alcohol. In addition to that, those wineries have the opportunity to sell unopened bottles for consumption off premises at the conclusion of that seminar. This is a little bit unique because it isn't in the exact same frame as the prior wine and bingo nights, but the state of Kansas does have a farm wineries permitting process where these 4 wineries are all licensed and hold those licenses currently. So what the city needs to approve is an ordinance, which is included in your packet, that would allow the consumption and sale of the unopened bottles to occur in the city's library facility. That's a city-owned property. So it's a little bit of a unique twist on what has previously been considered and approved for use at this space. Any questions I can answer about the city's process before we allow our visitors to make a quick comment? Okay. Please come on up, Ann or Max, whoever.
So this event is being co-sponsored by Rural Leavenworth, Inc., the Tonganoxie Farmers Market, and the Tonganoxie Friends of the Tonganoxie Library. And the idea is to build community around the food and wines that are produced here in Leavenworth County to help consumers have a better understanding of what is produced here and give those producers a chance to connect with consumers. The event as a whole will take place from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Tonganoxie Library. The main event is open to the public, so as patrons, as guests come into the library, in the main open area we'll have vendor stalls with local farms, and they can talk to people about what they do. They can sell their products. This would be the commitments that we have so far are Next to Nature Farm, Diligent Farms, and Jet Produce and Meats. We are also going to have a speaker's corner, so we will have speakers mostly from Leavenworth County Master Gardeners talking about how to grow things, how to preserve things, how to cook things with a view towards garden fruits, not orchard fruits, but more things like strawberries or if somebody wanted to grow grapes. So that will be open to the public, and it's free. But as a part of this, we're also going to have a wine seminar, which will be in the community room. So as noted, it is a closed room. We will have a volunteer doing age verification at the door, so the only people coming in will be over the age of 21. Participants do have to purchase a ticket. We haven't set that ticket price yet. And we'll have 4 wineries and also Scott Cole, who is a professor of enology and viticulture at Highland Community College. So those will be our 5 speakers. During that presentation, each winery will have selected a wine. We will serve a 1-ounce portion of each of those wines in accordance with the Kansas Department of Revenue Alcohol Beverage Control rules overseeing sampling. So that will take place as each winery is talking about their wines. You'll get to taste that wine. At the conclusion of the event, that will end at about 8 o'clock. Then the wineries will be able to talk to people further. We're hoping that they can sell closed bottles of wine. They all know that they will have the appropriate permits to do that. I will also be obtaining the appropriate permits from the Kansas Department of Revenue Alcohol Beverage Control that we need as an event to be offering the samples and following their rules. So, any questions?
Any questions, council?
Sounds like a great collaboration and good event.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brockhoff. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that the city adopt ordinance 1517 approving the consumption of alcohol for a private event to be held at the Public Library, 4th and Shawnee on February 13th, 2024, from 6 until 9 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck.
Hope it goes well.
Okay, item C, consider approval of 2024 cereal malt beverage CMB license renewal application for G&P Country Market. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item may be familiar because at the December 18th City Council meeting, the City Council did approve renewal of licenses for the other facilities, 3 facilities in the community that submitted their applications. The day after that City Council meeting, we did receive a response to some of the repeated inquiries from this applicant, and they submitted their application shortly thereafter. We did have a good conversation with that applicant about the limitations of which they were not be allowed to sell CMB products in that facility from the 1st of January through probably tomorrow, when the city's processing and the state's approval of their licensure would take effect. They were in agreement with that and indicated that it wouldn't pose a significant issue because of the ability to redirect customers to the connected liquor store facility that maintains the alcohol liquor license separately and has a different schedule for approval. So there were no business interruptions other than redirecting customers to the adjacent facility for them. Staff don't have any concerns to report. We've circulated this application with the police department for review, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have, but our best effort will be made tomorrow to expedite, should you approve this renewal, so that business can reopen sales as soon as possible.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Porter, any questions, council? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2024 renewal of cereal malt beverage license for GMP Country Market to sell retail cereal malt beverages in original unopened containers and not for consumption on the premises.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item D tonight is consider approval of payment of 2024 League of Kansas Municipalities membership fee. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is a regular item on our January agendas each year. The League of Kansas Municipalities provides a variety of services to the city, ranging from legislative lobbying efforts, representing the interests of cities, legal advice services, regular monthly publications of the Kansas Government Journal, and various other services and trainings offered through their web portal or in person. We also have been a member for many years. I don't have the record of how many consecutive years, but the League of Kansas Municipalities has been around since 1910, so it's a well-established organization that provides a good benefit to the city. Our charges are set up in a similar fashion to all other communities that choose to be members. There's a base fee of $475 that has remained unchanged, and then a per capita and per assessed valuation fee developed based on those respective ratios amongst communities across the state. Our fee is $3,621.62 for membership this year, and it was factored into the 2024 adopted budget. So staff don't have any concerns to express and would be happy to recommend approval of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Could you give me, no, never mind. Any questions, council? All right, if not, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment for the 2024 League of Kansas Municipalities membership for the city of Tonganoxie in an amount not to exceed $3,621.62.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item E, consider approval of Public Works loader equipment purchase. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is our first 2024 equipment purchase budgeted item for your consideration tonight. I'd like to recognize Kent Heskett, our Public Works Director, who's also here this evening, and glad to answer any specific questions you might have. Back in the summer of 2023, when this item was contemplated, we reviewed that the existing loader equipment for the Public Works Department was a 2021 model. It's getting some age, getting a few operational issues, maintenance issues that were occurring with more frequency. And it's a really critical piece of equipment to support the city's utility, snow removal, and other general maintenance activities that we complete. In building the 2024 budget, we actually had an assumption of a much higher cost for this item. We were contemplating, after a trade-in, a net purchase price of close to $180,000. As you can see in the attached quote, which was completed through the Sourcewell government collective bidding process, so that's why you see just one bid listed and one vendor. The purchase price listing with the trade-in allowance of $31,000 for our existing loader and forks attachment, and then the added purchase price of 72-inch wide manual forks to go with the new loader result in a total cost after that trade-in of $162,132.54. This purchase is a critical one for the operations of the department and the city, and we are budgeting for it in a variety of sources: the Sewer Operations Fund, Water Operations Fund, Water and Sewer Capital Funds, as well as the Capital Projects Fund, with the portion of the sales tax received from the county that's an allowable use for city equipment just like this. We're happy to see this bid result, and if Kent can keep this streak rolling, we'll really be happy. But as for now, we're happy to recommend approval and get this purchase authorized and off the ground. Happy to take any questions you have, though.
Thanks, Mr. Porter. Any questions?
Yeah.
Good job, Kent.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
I just have, I'm assuming this picture is the old one?
It is.
How much does the new one look like the old one? Pretty similar. Okay.
Cool.
But prettier.
I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Prettier.
Pretty, okay, yeah, prettier. Got it.
Brand new.
All right. I'd entertain a motion.
Sure. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to authorize staff to purchase a 2024 Case 621G Z-Bar loader and 72-inch wide manual forks attachment from VLP and Equipment Share Company for an amount not to exceed $162,132.54, which includes the trade-in of the old equipment for $31,000.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I felt like I was on the Price of Right. Price is Right. Brand new.
Consider approval of, item F, to consider approval of temporary alcohol permit for an on-premise event hosted by Baser Linwood High School's After Prom Committee on January 27th, 2024 at 910 East 1st Street in Tonganoxie, Kansas. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Mayor. Staying with the theme of alcohol-related regulations, tonight we have a consideration of a temporary liquor license for the event in the parameters that the mayor just mentioned. This event is being brought to you, you probably recall two similar applications for events held at the Tonganoxie, City of Tonganoxie, Leavenworth County Fairgrounds facility within the city. This proposal, as you see, is change venues to the VFW park. Staff took the application and quickly reviewed it for certain parameters such as proximity to churches, schools, and other prohibited distances in our city code, zoning regulations, as well as other city code references when considering temporary alcohol permits. There were no exemptions that would be requested beyond those normal regulations and those restrictions. One thing that we have made clear to the applicant, just like in the past, city code does currently limit sale, mix, or consumption of alcohol only until 9 p.m., no later than 9 and no earlier than noon. So the event hours do last a little bit longer in this case, but they're aware of that limitation and agreed to comply with the city ordinance. Each of the events hosted by this group has exceeded that 9 p.m. limit, so that may be a city code reference that the city may reevaluate someday and consider as 9 p.m. the appropriate time, or would it make sense to extend that just a little later? And we could get input from the police chief and other parties if you'd like for that consideration. There is no request, though, for a variance of the regulations for this event. We circulated this proposal with the police department. They're aware, had no concerns to report, and would plan to be cognizant of that on the night of the event. Also just want to point out that this is the Basehor-Linwood High School Project Grad Fundraising Committee, so this isn't an after-prom event or a students event. It is solely adults of legal age to consume alcohol as a fundraiser effort that are taking part. Happy to take any other questions you have, but staff do recommend approval, and this is a pretty time-sensitive process to get turned around and approved by the state in time for the January 27th event date. So happy to take your questions.
Any questions, council?
We approved, maybe it was that prom, after prom, a couple months, 3 or 4 months ago. Or was that, am I thinking of that?
That was at the fairgrounds. Yep, same group.
We
there.
appreciate our friends from the east coming and spending money and hopefully spending money in Tonganoxie.
Yeah. Any further questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I would make a motion, we approve a temporary alcohol permit for an on-premise event hosted by Basehor-Linwood High School Project Grad on January 27th, 2024 at the VFW, located at 910 East First Street, Tonganoxie, Kansas.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Dan, Mr. Porter, I like the idea of maybe discussing that 10 o'clock time, so would you mind gathering some data on that?
Certainly, we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, 9
Thank you.
seems to be pretty early.
Okay, item 6 is the city manager agenda. The item 1 is a presentation of the 2024 budget book. Mr. Porter?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to highlight briefly something on the screen here. So the 2024 adopted budget was approved by the City Council back in September 5th of last summer. We have completed the preparations of a draft 2024 budget book. It's no legal requirement to complete such a publication, and you'll often see other communities, cities, and counties that don't choose to devote the effort and the resources to developing this tool. But what it is a good practice for transparency. It helps people who weren't able to attend budget work sessions or review the budget adoption and the state budget forms, which can be particularly hard to contemplate and understand fully. And so this is sort of a plain language or plainer language version of the city's adopted budget, what resources are being dedicated towards, and what programs and projects they can expect to see in the coming year, and the City Council can expect to see come up in future agendas and other purchases, just like the loader that we completed earlier tonight. The entire budget book is 48 pages. It is available online at a tool which, if you watch the screen here, it's called Flipping Book, and it allows people to have an interactive view, word searching, hyperlinks to click quickly to an area they want to see. And it's developed generally in conformance with prior budget books. Every year we introduce small tweaks and improvements that help better reflect the priorities that were approved for funding in that current year. I won't highlight any particular details, except to point out that at the dais, we did print out the first 7 pages of the budget book. That includes a 3-page letter from the city manager highlighting again the priorities as developed in the budget process, as well as just some general awareness of development activity and other types of activities going on in the community, either during the budget development or during the upcoming fiscal year. Happy to take any input you have on preferred edits, additions. One thing we would like to examine in the future is going after the Government Finance Officers Association standardized grading, and there's an award eligible for members that complete a budget book in a certain manner and style. And we haven't submitted that from the city of Tonganoxie in the past, and we'd like to look at doing that as an idea for some recognition of the efforts that go into this product. But happy to take any feedback you have now or after the meeting, and we'll wait till closer to a couple weeks from now to order hard copies to deliver to you later, maybe at the next January meeting if you're happy with that, or we could do it a little later as well.
Mr. Porter, on page 4, with the graphic of the dollar bill, can we transpose city and Leavenworth County, since Leavenworth County actually has the larger portion of the dollar bill?
Yes, we can make that
I
change.
thought the same thing, yeah. Just
Certainly.
to go from largest to smallest, it'd be nice to have those in order.
That's
It's
a
a
great
penny,
idea.
but it's an important penny.
Yes.
We'll make that edit. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. This is wonderful. Even just the overview is extremely helpful, and it speaks to the staff's efforts in putting all of this together for us so nicely.
Thank you.
And of course, the community. We know a lot of people don't understand or realize what a great staff this town has, so. But for those who look at it, they should feel very lucky, because not every community is so transparent.
On our website, is the link on our website?
It is, and that's active right now.
Where do I find it?
If you either could search budget book, or if you go under departments, I can show you on the screen here.
Yep.
There's finance or adopted budget books. There's a couple ways to get there, actually. See if I can go
All right,
back.
thanks, Dan.
Thank you all.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, we have an executive session for consultation with the attorney for the public body or agency for which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship. This would be this one?
I move that City Council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice related to correspondence received from Unilock Chicago, Inc. pertaining to real estate contract of sale between the city and Unilock pursuant to the attorney-client consultation exception KSA 75-4319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 7:43, 15 minutes from now. So
Thank you, Ms.
moved, is there, yeah.
Thanks, Mr.
Second.
Stevens. Thanks, Mr. Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're in executive session. we're back in regular session. Let the record show that no binding action was taken in the executive session. City attorney agenda has one item for an executive session for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency for which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship.
I move that the city council recess into executive session to obtain legal advice regarding communications received from the county about a recent annexation pursuant the attorney-client consultation exception in KSA 754319B2. The executive session will include the city attorney, city manager, and assistant city manager. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber in 20 minutes, which will be 8:05 PM. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Go in executive session. Okay, we're back in regular session. Let the record show that no binding action was taken in the executive session. City attorney agenda, is there anything more?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I think we may add something to the agenda. May I make a motion that we could add something to the agenda?
Does that work?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ms. Stevens. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And to clarify, what is being added is a resolution. It's resolution number 01-24-01. And it's a resolution requesting the Board of County Commissioners of Leavenworth County, Kansas, to make a finding that the annexation of certain real property not adjoining the primary boundary of the city of Tonganoxie, Kansas, will not hinder or prevent the proper growth and development of the area or any other incorporated city within Leavenworth County, Kansas. So this is related to the recent annexation that was completed. The county has concerns about the procedure that was followed, and this resolution is intended to address that.
All right. Yes, that's what I would like to add to the agenda.
Okay, so is that a motion?
I've got a motion.
Okay.
If there's no further discussion necessary on
Is
it,
there any discussion? Mr. Dale?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 01-24-01, a resolution requesting the Board of County Commissioners of Leavenworth County, Kansas, to make a finding that annexation of certain real property not adjoining the primary boundary of the city of Tonganoxie, Kansas, will not hinder or prevent the proper growth and development of the area or of any other incorporated city located within Leavenworth County, Kansas, pursuant to KSA 12-520C.
Thank you, Mr. Dale. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Partridge. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Kirstelich.
Thank you.
Anything further?
No, not on this item.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem agenda.
Nothing this evening.
City Council agenda. The mayor agenda, I have nothing. And Jake, did you have something?
I humbly make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Solemnly second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. See you in a couple weeks.